Good morning. Slight change of scenery today. We are in Flunch. Anyone who is familiar with France will maybe know Flunch. It's a bit like, I'm trying to think what it's the equivalent of back in the UK. I don't know. I was going to say Weatherspoons, but it's probably not quite that. It's just like a cheap sort of restaurant. You tend to find them in like service stations on the outskirts of towns. This one's just like in part of a shopping centre with a big supermarket in. I've just dropped Lara off at an appointment, and I've just picked up a trampoline for Louis' birthday. So I'm just popping in here, getting a bit of work done. While I wait for her, she said she's probably going to be about an hour and a half. So yeah, grab the coffee. Not the worst coffee in the world, considering it's just a little cheapy place. Try and get a bit of work done before we head back home again. So yeah, enjoying, I've actually got myself a nice little croissant here as well, which I very, very rarely eat. But yeah, it was very nice. And it came as a little bit of a breakfast menu. So a couple of euros for a coffee and a croissant. Can't really go wrong with that, can you? So the week's off to a good start. I'm feeling good, feeling pretty full of energy, which I haven't done for a little while. So excited for this week to come. I've got push tomorrow, pull on Friday. Saturday's a bit of a day off, Sunday back there for legs, and everything else is going to flow from there. Monday will be my second push session, Tuesday will be my back and hamstring session. But yeah, as things go, it's moving in the right direction. I'm feeling good. A nice little change of scenery for an hour this morning. Let's crack on. Good morning. There we have my push session done. Another really, really good one. Managed to see a decent bit of progress again, which is all starting to add up. I think push is that one session, I seem to say this every single week, like it's the one that previously I probably found hardest to progress, but you know, something's clicking at the moment. Things seem to be moving very, very well indeed. And I'm certainly not going to complain about that. And yeah, so managed to get a decent bit of progress on both my flat and my incline presses, which is really, really good. It did mean that I saw a little bit of a stall on my shoulder press. However, this is something that I think is worth always being aware of. The fact that I had made progress in my chest pressing movements, there is going to be some carryover there into, you know, the sort of, I don't necessarily like using words like fatigue because people overuse them, I think. But that said, there is going to be a little bit of carryover when it comes to just the you know, you've done your chest press work, like especially incline chest pressing. You are using a little bit of shoulder in there. There is a little bit of, you know, a little bit more shoulder coming into the movement. So having made progress on my incline pressing, when I did then get round to doing my shoulder pressing, yes, there's a little bit of additional fatigue, for want of a better word, brought into that movement. So I'm not mad about the fact that my shoulder pressing, it didn't go backwards, it just stalled. It just meant, you know, I didn't make progress on every single movement today, which again is very, very normal. Expecting to make progress on every single movement, every single week. Whilst we're striving to do that, and we'd absolutely love to do that, it also isn't particularly realistic to have that expectation. And one of the things I try and, like when I'm talking to clients who might get a little bit frustrated by that, you know, they might not see any progress in movements for, you know, a few weeks even. But what I'm trying to, you know, say to them, look, if every single person was progressing every single lift every single week, we would just be constantly in a world where new world records were getting made. Like everything would become a new world record because we would just be progress. So I think, you know, and especially when it comes to the fat loss side of things, a really, really undervalued thing is that if your body weight is coming down, if the body fat is coming off, if you're in a deficit of energy and you're still managing to maintain your lifts, let alone progress them, that is still a form of progress, right? Because there's less of you moving that weight. And I think that is also something that is very, very easy to forget. You know, it's very easy to just overlook because the way that we typically monitor progress is, am I getting more reps? Am I increasing the weight on this movement? And people don't necessarily like to think about the fact that maintaining weight reps, but there's 5, 10, 15 pounds less of you doing it, is progress. So yeah, always worth keeping that one in mind, because I think it is an important factor to consider. So, but yeah, my push session today, really, really good. Just on the way home now. It is 6:20 in the morning, so I don't think anyone else will be up, but I might be surprised. Well, the cat will be up, I know that. Crumble will definitely be awake, because she was awake when I got up at 4 o'clock this morning. I think she basically sleeps outside our bedroom door, so the minute she hears movement, she's sort of up and about trying to get a bit of attention, because she's a bit of an attention whore. So we'll go and see what's going on at home, and then a solid day getting stuff ready for the next Ben-E-Fit BLITZ, which is going to be happening in September. So keep your eyes peeled for the details coming soon, because it is fucking awesome. It really, really is. Like, every single person that takes part in it, they make crazy good progress. They absolutely love it. It's a really, really, really cool community of people, all focused on just becoming better. Primarily, fat loss is the goal. It's a 6-week sort of fat loss blitz, but it is a 6-week fat loss blitz to kickstart whatever is then to come. For some people, they can achieve an absolutely amazing amount of fat loss in 6 weeks, and that's going to kickstart a phase of growth. For other people, it's 6 weeks that they get a decent amount of fat loss, and then they go on for another 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months, just continuing to get themselves in incredible shape. So it's always to be seen as that kickstart. I don't want people to just see it as 6 weeks and done. That isn't what fitness is all about. Fitness is about the marathon, not the sprint. There are definitely times where the sprint is necessary, and I think it can be very useful to have the little sprint focuses. For me, I would argue that something like my shoot prep was a bit like a sprint, because that's 15 weeks worth of prep, where fitness is it's what I do. It's something that becomes very, very much part of my lifestyle. So those little sprints, incredibly useful when used for the right reasons. But yeah, let's make sure that we're keeping our eyes peeled for the information. I will be releasing more details in due course. You can get yourself added onto the priority list, and I will drop the link to that in the comments. So you can obviously, in the description. So you can obviously have a little look at that. Make sure that you're getting yourself on that list, so you'll hear all the details first. You won't miss a beat. And any questions on that, let me know. Good morning. That is the early Sunday morning leg session. Whew, done. Another good one. More progress. Yeah, felt good to get that one in, because I missed last week's with my little back niggle. And considering I've got another crack on my foot, yeah, it could have been a little bit more disastrous. But actually, really, really, really good session. Yeah, progress on most things, particularly the big movers. I think that's always, that hack squat in particular is genuinely, and I'm not just saying it, it is genuinely one of the heaviest hack squats I think I've ever used. My hack squat, oh no, this has lost itself. My hack squat ordinarily is, when I've used other hack squats, just trying to look at the state of this, absolute state of it. They're supposed to do that on a regular basis, but for some reason, that's just been there for months, which is pretty grim. But yeah, that hack squat is honestly super, super heavy. I've used a lot of different hack squats over the years, and that one is by far the heaviest. And anyone who's used that, it's a Matrix brand. Anyone who's used that Matrix brand of hack squat, I've probably said this before, but they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Usually you find them in places, a lot of the chain gyms in the UK use Matrix as their say their preferred brand. I guess it's the brand they partner with. I don't know whether they necessarily prefer them, because a lot of the equipment is not great. Some of it's all right, but some of it is really not that good. But the Hack Squat, it's not that it's a bad piece of kit, it's just really heavy without any weight on. So always nice to be making a bit of progress on that. Progress on both the sets I did on there as well. So my top set, my heaviest first working set, 5 kilos up, just a couple of reps down. So progress to be had there. So I'll stick at that weight and just continue to build up the reps, try and get those extra couple of reps on there before I think about getting the weight up. And then the back off my second working set on there, same weight, but extra rep, maybe an extra 2 reps actually, and hit the top end of that rep range. So that back off set can be bumped up in weight next week, which is very exciting indeed. So yeah, the big uns all made some pretty decent progress, and just generally felt like a good session. So yeah, Sunday morning, early doors. It is not even 7 o'clock in the morning, and that is my leg session plus a bit of cardio done. On the way home now, I would imagine as I get through the door, the house is going to start to wake up. I'm not sure that anyone will be awake just yet. The cat is definitely, because she woke up when I woke up and wanted a bit of attention, because she is a little bit of an attention whore. And then we are going to have some breakfast, and then we're going to meet some friends. There's like we're not exactly sure how the kids are going to take it, but there's like a sort of traveling dinosaur exposition thing about 10-15 minutes away from us. So we're going to meet our friends, and both of us have got little boys of similar ages. So we're going to see how the boys get on. We're hoping they're not going to be absolutely scared shitless, because that'd be a bit of a disaster. But yeah, I don't really know what to expect. So we shall see. But hopefully they'll have fun. Hopefully they'll enjoy themselves, and it won't be too scary for them. So after that, I think we're picking Lara's mum up, and then I've got a little bit of work to do this afternoon, which I'll try and do when Louis is napping, so that we maximise that time. We went out for our first bike ride yesterday, so the bikes got delivered on Friday afternoon. We put one of them together on Friday evening, and then we put the other one together yesterday morning, Saturday morning. Then we had to pop to Decathlon, which I've just driven past there, to go and buy a load of accessories like helmets and the child seat for the back. And then we also grabbed, what else did we grab? A pump, some locks, a little puncture repair kit just in case. And then after Louis had napped, we then went out for a nice little bike ride. So yeah, it actually feels really nice to have the bikes. It's something we've been talking about for ages, and because the weather at the moment is just absolutely amazing. It saves us having the car, taking the car everywhere. Because to be honest, most places where we live, we can get to on the bike in 15-20 minutes, maybe half an hour tops. It's not a massive town, so it's easy enough to get around. And as I said, it just gives us that option. Like I can, or both of us can probably go and pick Louis up on the bikes of an evening, dropping him off in the morning. It might be a little bit different just because time is a bit more pressured, but we can certainly pick him up on the bike. And then that'll be a nice little ride out for everyone. So yeah, the bikes are going to get plenty of use, I feel. So I'm about to get home now. Let's go and see what is going on with the rest of the house, and then get everyone sorted so that we can get out and see some dinosaurs. Good morning. Early. Not 6 o'clock yet. And we are finished. Second push session of the week done. Now, getting back home. Going to see what the house is up to. And then getting everything sorted. So, second push session of the week. As I say, all sorted. Pretty decent one today. Bit of progress made on several things. which is always positive. A little bit of a stall on a couple of other things, but not too bad overall. So a good weekend was had as well. We put it in gear. Got the bikes on Friday evening. So put the bikes together. I think I mentioned yesterday actually. And then we went for a nice little bike ride Saturday evening or late afternoon. And then we also went for a nice bike ride yesterday as well, just down to the park so Louis could have a little play. Yeah, it's just really, really nice to have them actually. I think, you know, just from the point of view of not having to always take the car everywhere, just being able to jump on the bikes. And it just means getting places is a bit quicker, because when Louis had a nap yesterday afternoon, we could have walked to the park, but walking to the park's probably half an hour. And also the potential to have Louis not overly happy about either being in a pushchair, or if he walks himself, it just takes that little bit longer. So even just being able to like pop him on the back of the bike, he had fun. It means we can get, you know, to and from places that little bit quicker as well, which is pretty handy. And he is 2 tomorrow. So I'm recording this early doors on Monday morning after having just been to the gym. The little man turns 2 tomorrow. So yeah, absolutely mental to think that we are parents to a 2-year-old, but it is what it is. You sort of start to understand a lot about what people mean when everyone says to you, like, when you become parents, it all goes very, very quickly, and you're a bit like, you brush it off a bit. We'll see. It really, really does. As you know, the fact that we, this time a couple of years ago, we were in the middle of another heat wave in the hospital, 40 odd degrees, just, yeah, absolutely crazy. But anyway, 2 for the little man tomorrow. My own little update. So another fairly stable week. I saw a little bit of a jump up on the scales this morning, but I did also train legs pretty hard and heavy yesterday, in addition to then going out for the bike ride and stuff. So I suspect my legs are just holding on to a decent bit of inflammation, just leading to a little bit more water and glycogen. So no major issues of that little jump. But otherwise, it's been a really, really good week. You know, I've had some really good training sessions in particular, made a really, really good bit of progress on pretty much every session this week. And it's a while since I've been able to say that, you know, I mean, partly because obviously I've been dieting, so you don't always make loads and loads of progress when you're dieting. But yeah, finally feeling like in a really, really good groove with training. Food's in a good spot, I'm eating well. Yeah, just everything feels like it's really, really good at the moment. So we'll keep riding this wave, we'll keep pushing progress, we'll keep making sure that we are doing exactly what we need to do to grow, because that is the goal right now. So yeah, hopefully we'll see a lot more growth happening in these coming weeks. But I'm just on my way back now. I'm in a little bit of a rush because I need to get in, get showered, get Louis up, get his milk done, get him dressed. All of that needs to be done within about half an hour. So that when Lara's then sorted, I can go and drop, Louis, all 3 of us will go down, drop Lara at the station, get back home again, get Louis a little bit of breakfast. I'm not quite sure what he'll eat. He's sometimes a little bit funny about breakfast at the moment, but hopefully he'll eat a decent bit of breakfast. I'll also be able to get a bit of food in myself, drop him at the childminders, and then the day can begin. So nearly home, let's get the day going, and I hope everyone is good. Good morning. Back and hamstrings done. Another early one because it is Louis' birthday today, which means I'm trying to get back fairly quickly, because there's a few little things that we want to put out for him before he wakes up. So yeah, managed to get in there nice and early. I wouldn't ordinarily necessarily be quite as early, just because Lara's not in the office today. So I might have got up about half an hour later. Doesn't make a massive difference in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, I was up at 4, get that gym session done. It is about 6 o'clock now. Get ourselves home, get those few bits and bobs sorted for Louis, and then see when he wakes up. Car's beeping at me, always fun. But yeah, let's go and get that sorted. Fairly decent back and hamstring session. A little bit of progress on a couple of things, a little bit of stickiness on a couple of other things. But that's how it goes sometimes. You know, you said it before, but you're not going to make progress on every single movement every single week, despite the fact being that is always the aim, that is always the target, that is always the thing that we're striving for. Just isn't always going to happen. So not a bad session. Check-in sent over, pictures I will pop up. Obviously the next bit of the update, the little final roundup, will come following Christian's reply. A little bit of a dip on the scales on the average over the course of the week. A small, very small one. And I saw a bit of a drop off again this morning. So I had seen a bit of a bump up yesterday. I think I was up to about 161 yesterday, and then that's bumped back down to just under 159 this morning. So a couple of pounds change from day to day, which, yeah, very, very normal. I think people get very antsy about you know, the ups and downs that go with the weight, but it happens, you know. Like Monday morning, not uncommon for me to find that there is a bit of a bump, just because Sundays I train legs, and legs is generally quite a typical one where you are going to see a bit more of that inflammation happen. You know, big muscle group that's getting trained, bit more inflammation, bit more glycogen water storage in those muscle cells, and then that, you know, will sometimes die off again on the Monday, and then the little dip will happen come Tuesday morning. So as I say, these things happen. It's nothing to worry about, it's nothing to panic about. There's no reason to, you know, see the number jumped up yesterday morning and then all of a sudden think, fuck, I need to cut my calories today, and just go absolutely mental. Like, you just have to, you know, stick with it, trust the process, and things will move in the right direction. But yeah, let's get home. Let me see what the reply from Christian comes back as. I wouldn't be overly surprised if he made another little increase in food. Not a massive one, I don't think, but my weight has been, the average has moved up over the past couple of weeks. This one's the first week in 3 weeks, I think, where there's been a little bit more of a stall. Some coaches like to let that run for a couple of weeks before they make any changes. Other coaches are happy to make that change a little bit more as it's happening. But we shall see. As I say, I wouldn't be at all surprised if there is a change, and I equally wouldn't be surprised if we let this run out for another week and then see what happens there. So yeah, not too far from home now. Sun is just rising. That is the time of the day. Really nice actually to see that. The moon was fucking massive this morning as well when I went out, and it was like a sort of orangey tinge and absolutely enormous in the sky, and I haven't seen a moon like that for quite a while. So that was quite nice as well. The things that you see at 4 o'clock in the morning that you don't really get to see if you're not up that early. But anyway, I'm waffling now, almost home. You'll have seen the pictures. I'll be back with Christian's reply. So Christian has got back to me, and as expected, well, I think I initially said, yeah, I'm expected. I wouldn't be surprised if changes are getting made, and then equally, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not. They are getting made. So 25 carb bump on both days, training days and rest days, and then a 10 fat bump on my training days as well. So carbs up to 525 on my training days, up to 450 on my rest days. Everything else, and then fats up to 40 grams on my training days. Everything else as it was. So a little bit of a bump. So we're looking at about a 200 calorie bump on my training days, 100 calorie bump on my non-training days. Those will get implemented today. Nice bit of extra food to go in, which is well timed, because I'm probably going to have just a little bit of chocolate brownie later for Louis' birthday. A little bit of a party thing going on, for just a little quiet one for us. But yeah, a little bit of a bump in food. That should keep me going for another week or two. So yeah, everything else as is, keeping pushing on. I'm going to go out for a nice walk in a bit, just to try and get a bit of air, because the sun is shining. And I'll be back next week. But I hope you're all good. I hope you have a fantastic week, and catch up with you all in the next one.